My father raised his glass at the head of the table, champagne catching the light from the chandelier. 20 people sat around the dining room in my parents' house in Greenwich, Connecticut, relatives, family, friends, my brother's fiancée and her parents, all dressed in their finest for what my mother had called a special family announcement. "We want to thank everyone for coming," my father began, his voice carrying that particular blend of pride and authority that came from 40 years of corporate law. "Candace and I have made a decision about our legacy, and we wanted to share it with the people who matter most." I sat near the middle of the table, between my aunt and a family friend, watching my brother Sterling shift in his seat at the other end. He was 30, 2 years younger than me, wearing a custom suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. "We've decided to transfer ownership of Whitmore and Associates to Sterling," my father continued. "Effective immediately, he'll be taking over as managing partner of the firm." The room erupted in applause. My mother beamed. Sterling stood to accept handshakes and congratulations. His fiancée squeezed his arm, diamonds glittering on her finger. I took a sip of water, set the glass down carefully, watched the celebration unfold around me like I was observing it through a window. My father hadn't finished. "We're also converting Sterling's trust into immediate access, giving him full control of his inheritance now rather than at 65. We believe he's shown the maturity and business acumen to handle it." More applause. More congratulations. Someone asked how much the firm was worth. My father deflected with a humble smile, but everyone in that room knew. 40 million minimum, probably closer to 60 with the client list. My mother caught my eye across the table. She smiled, a tight little smile that said, "Be happy for your brother." I smiled back. No one asked me anything. No one acknowledged that I existed. No one seemed to notice that my father had just given my brother everything. The firm we both grew up watching him build, the trust we'd both been promised, the future we'd both been told we'd share, and given me nothing. That night, I went home to my apartment in Brooklyn, poured myself a drink, opened my laptop, and I did something they didn't expect. I accepted the job offer I'd been sitting on for 3 weeks. The one I'd been too guilty to take because it meant leaving the family business behind, disappointing my parents, abandoning the path they'd laid out for me. But they'd just made that decision easier than I ever could have imagined. By morning, everything would change. And they'd realize too late that giving Sterling everything meant losing the one person who actually kept it all running. My name is Dashiell Whitmore, and until yesterday, I was the Associate Director of Operations at Whitmore and Associates, my family's corporate law firm in Manhattan. Notice I said was. Let me back up. My father, Hugh Whitmore, founded the firm 35 years ago. Built it from a 2-person practice into one of the most respected corporate law firms on the East Coast. 200 employees, offices in 4 cities, clients that included Fortune 500 companies and private equity giants. My brother Sterling went to Yale Law, graduated top of his class, passed the bar on his first try. He'd been working at the firm for 5 years, bringing in clients, schmoozing at country clubs, playing the role of heir apparent with practiced ease. I didn't go to law school. I got an MBA instead, focused on operations and finance. When I joined the firm 8 years ago, I wasn't bringing in clients or arguing cases. I was fixing the infrastructure nobody else cared about. I restructured our billing system, saving clients millions in disputed charges and increasing our collection rate by 30%. I negotiated our office leases, cutting overhead by 20%. I built the project management system that kept our 200 lawyers organized across multiple jurisdictions. I was the reason the firm ran smoothly. Sterling was the reason it looked good. And last night, my parents gave him everything. I woke up at 5 a.m., the way I always did, made coffee, showered, dressed in my usual suit, not custom like Sterling's, just a decent Brooks Brothers I'd bought on sale. Then I opened my laptop and sent 3 emails. The first was to Catherine Park, the CEO of Meridian Legal Tech in San Francisco. 3 weeks ago, she'd offered me the position of Chief Operating Officer. Equity stake, $600,000 base salary, the chance to build something from scratch. Catherine, I accept your offer. I can start in 2 weeks. Best dash. The second email was to my father. Dad, effective immediately, I'm resigning from Whitmore and Associates. My last day will be Friday. I'll spend this week documenting all systems and processes, but after that, you're on your own. Good luck with the transition. The third email was to the dozen key people I'd worked with over the years, the billing manager, the IT director, the office administrator, the project coordinators. People who reported to me, who trusted me, who'd built their careers alongside mine. If anyone's interested in exploring opportunities outside W&A, I'm happy to talk. I'll be in SF building something new. I hit send on all three, closed my laptop, finished my coffee. My phone started ringing at 6:47 a.m. My father's name lit up the screen. I let it ring. He called again. Then my mother. Then Sterling. I silenced my phone and went to the office. By the time I arrived at 8, my father was already there, waiting outside my office door. His face was red, jaw tight. What the hell is this? He waved his phone at me. My resignation email presumably pulled up on the screen. It's a resignation letter. Pretty standard format. You can't resign. I can. I just did. Dashiell, don't be childish. This is about last night. Isn't it? I unlocked my office door, walked inside. He followed. Last night, I said calmly. You gave Sterling the firm and his entire inheritance. You made your priorities very clear. We gave it to him because he's a lawyer. He can run the firm. He can bring in clients. There's a difference. And what do? Shuffle papers? Manage schedules? I felt something cold settle in my chest. I keep this place running. But clearly, you don't see that as valuable. Of course it's valuable, but Sterling's more valuable. I get it, Dad. You made that clear. So I'm making my choice clear. I'm leaving. Where are you going? San Francisco. COO position at a legal tech startup. Equity, leadership role, chance to build something. His face paled. You've been interviewing? For 3 months. I got the offer weeks ago. I was going to turn it down because I thought I had a future here. I gestured around my office. Turns out I was wrong. This is ridiculous. You're throwing away your future because you're jealous of your brother. I'm not jealous. I'm realistic. You gave him everything. Why would I stay? My mother appeared in the doorway, eyes red. Please. Don't do this. Do what? Leave? You made that decision for me last night. We were trying to secure Sterling's future. By eliminating mine. Sterling pushed past her, all swagger and indignation. Dude, are you seriously going to tank the family business because your butt hurt? I looked at him, really looked at him, at the brother I'd spent my whole life competing with, measuring myself against, trying to prove I was worth as much as. I'm not tanking anything. I'm leaving. There's a difference. The firm needs you. Then you should have thought about that before you took everything. I didn't take anything. Dad gave. Yeah, he did. And I'm sure you deserve it. I started packing my desk. But I deserve better than this. My father stepped forward. Dashiell, be reasonable. We can work something out. Like what? A retention bonus? A participation trophy? I pulled files from my drawer, stacking them on the desk. You made your decision. I'm making mine. You're being spiteful. No, Dad. I'm being strategic. Something I learned from you, actually. I walked past all 3 of them, files in hand, and headed to the conference room where I'd spend the next 5 days documenting 8 years of institutional knowledge. Word spread fast. By noon, 6 of my key people had emailed asking about the San Francisco opportunity. By end of day, half my department had requested meetings. My father called an emergency partners meeting. I wasn't invited, but I heard about it. He told everyone my resignation was a personal matter, that operations would continue smoothly, that Sterling was fully capable of managing the transition. None of that was true, but they'd figure it out soon enough. On Wednesday, the billing system crashed. Our billing manager, who'd been with me since day one, had put in her notice that morning. The system I'd built was custom, complex, and completely undocumented anywhere except in my head and hers. Sterling called me. Can you help us fix the billing system? That's not my job anymore. Come on, man. Don't be a dick. I'm documenting processes like I said I would. Billing isn't one of them. That was always Teresa's domain, and she's leaving. Why is she leaving? Probably because she's talented and underpaid. You should ask her. He hung up. They figured out the billing system by Friday, but not before losing a day of processing and pissing off 3 major clients. On Thursday, our largest client, a private equity firm managing $30 billion in assets, called to say they were reviewing their relationship with us. They'd been my relationship, technically. I'd spent 2 years fixing their billing disputes, streamlining their contract reviews, saving them millions. Sterling tried to smooth it over. He was charming, confident, said all the right things. They fired us anyway. $30 million in annual billings, gone. By Friday afternoon, when I walked out of Whitmore and Associates for the last time, the mood in the office was somewhere between panic and chaos. My father stopped me at the elevator. Wait. I turned. We can fix this. Name your price. We'll give you equity, profit sharing, whatever you want. I don't want anything from you anymore. So that's it? You're just gonna walk away from everything we built? No, Dad. You walked away from me. Last Tuesday. When you decided Sterling was worth everything and I was worth nothing. That's not what we decided. That's exactly what you decided. You just didn't think I'd notice. The elevator doors opened. I stepped inside. Dashiell, please. I pressed the button for the lobby. Good luck with Sterling. I'm sure he'll figure it out. The doors closed on my father's face. Still pleading. Still not understanding. San Francisco was everything Greenwich wasn't. Casual, optimistic, focused on building rather than maintaining. Meridian Legal Tech was a team of 30 people working out of a converted warehouse in Soma, building AI-powered legal operations software. Catherine gave me free rein. I hired you because you know what law firms actually need. Build it. So I did. I hired 4 of my former team from Whitmore. Teresa came as head of product. 2 developers, 1 project manager. People I trusted. We built software that did everything I'd done manually at my father's firm. Automated billing, case management, resource allocation. But better, faster, cheaper. 6 months in, we had our first client. A mid-sized firm in Chicago, fed up with their current systems. They paid us $300,000 for a year-long implementation. 1 year in, we had 15 clients. Revenue hit $5 million. Catherine started talking about series of funding. My equity stake, which had been theoretical, suddenly had real value. My $600,000 salary felt like pocket change compared to what the shares might be worth. And back in Greenwich, Whitmore and Associates was bleeding. I heard through former colleagues still at the firm. After I left, things deteriorated fast. The billing system failures cascaded. Clients got frustrated, started looking elsewhere. Sterling, for all his charm, couldn't fix operational problems. He didn't even understand them. They hired consultants, paid them a fortune to rebuild the systems I'd created. Took 6 months and $3 million, and it still didn't work as well. More clients left. Revenue dropped 20% the first year, another 15% the second. They had to lay off staff, close one of the satellite offices. My father, proud Hugh Whitmore, had to go hat in hand to his remaining clients, promising to fix problems he didn't understand. Sterling tried. He really did. But being a good lawyer didn't make him a good operator. And being the heir didn't make him a leader. 2 years after that dinner, my mother called. Her voice was small. Can we talk? About what? About what happened. About what we did. What did you do, Mom? Silence. Then quietly, we pushed you out. We prioritized Sterling and assumed you'd just accept it. And we were wrong. The firm is struggling. Your father won't admit it, but we're in trouble. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? I thought about it honestly. No, not really. But I'm not happy about it either. I just don't feel anything. We need your help. There it was. The ask I'd been waiting for. With what? The firm. We need someone who understands operations. Sterling's great with clients but terrible with management. Everything's falling apart. And you want me to come back. We want you to consider it. We'd give you equity. Make you a partner. Name you co-managing partner with Sterling. I almost laughed. You want me to fix the mess you created by giving Sterling everything. We made a mistake. Yeah, you did. So will you help us? I looked out my office window at the San Francisco skyline, at the city I'd built a new life in, at the company where I was COO and equity holder and respected for what I actually did. No, I said. I won't. Dash, please. Mom, you had 8 years to see my value. You waited until you were desperate. That's not love. That's need. We're family. No, we're related. Family doesn't give one son everything and the other nothing. Family doesn't wait until they're drowning to throw a life preserver. What do you want from us? Nothing. I don't want anything from you. That's the point. She was crying now. I don't know what to say. Then don't say anything. Just live with your choice. The way I've had to. I hung up, stared at my phone for a long moment. Then I went back to work. 3 years after that dinner, Meridian Legal Tech went public. My equity stake, which I'd been granted at pennies per share, was suddenly worth $32 million. I bought a house in Pacific Heights, started advising other legal tech startups, built a life that had nothing to do with Greenwich or corporate law dynasties or proving myself to people who'd never see me. Whitmore and Associates still exists. Smaller, diminished, but surviving. Sterling's still managing partner. My father's retired but keeps an office. They're fine. Not thriving, but fine. We exchange Christmas cards. Nothing more. One day, I got a letter from my father. Actual handwritten letter, not email. Dashiell, I'm writing because your mother says I need to say this. And she's right. We were wrong. Not just about the firm, but about you. We assumed you'd always be there, that you didn't need recognition because you were so capable. We took you for granted. Sterling is a good lawyer. But you were the reason the firm worked. And we didn't see that until it was too late. I'm not asking you to come back. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. What we lost. What we threw away. I'm proud of what you've built. Even if I didn't say it when it mattered. Dad, I read the letter twice. Folded it. Put it in a drawer. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe someday I'd forgive them. But that day wasn't today. Here's what I learned. When people give you nothing, they're teaching you that you're worth nothing to them. Believe them. My parents gave my brother everything, the business, the inheritance, the validation, thinking I'd just accept my role as the supporting character. What they didn't expect was that the supporting character would walk off the stage entirely. And when the show fell apart without me, when they finally realized what I'd been contributing all along, it was too late. I didn't leave out of spite. I left out of self-preservation. I left because staying meant accepting that I was worth less than Sterling, and I finally decided I was worth more than that. If you've ever been overlooked, undervalued, taken for granted by the people who should see you most clearly, I want you to know walking away isn't giving up. It's choosing yourself. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't anger or confrontation. It's building something so successful that they finally see what they lost. Have you ever walked away from a family business or inheritance because you weren't valued? What happened next? Share your story in the comments. And subscribe for more stories about knowing your worth, choosing yourself, and building a life that doesn't depend on other people finally seeing you.